20th. That's what place A.J. Brown finished last year in targets per game. 5th. That's what place A.J. Brown finished in fantasy points per game. Let's talk about why he and two others, outside the top 60 in drafts, by the way, two others are my must-draft wide receivers for the 2021 NFL season. All right, you're looking at the NFL Study Hub here on the teamriseorfall.com. If you're listening in on all of our podcast platforms, I'm going to describe everything for you. Don't sweat it. So if we're looking at market share last year for the wide receiver position, we ended up seeing A.J. Brown actually finish 5th in the NFL at 26.6% of all targets last year on that Titans offense. Now, here's the deal. Khalif Raymond, Adam Humphries, Corey Davis, and Jonnu Smith, they're gone. All four of them gone. So that means 207 targets are open for business over there in Tennessee. Josh Reynolds is there. Don't care, really. A.J. Brown, in just 14 games last year, finished with 247 PPR points. The dude is due for another step forward. I'm not kidding, man. Last year, if you're looking at his targets at just 8.29 targets per game, if you had even just given him an extra 16 targets last year and we extrapolated his stats out, he would have finished 5th right there with Calvin Ridley, 281 fantasy points in PPR leagues last year. Give me A.J. Brown going right around 6th through 8th in the wide receivers. Give me A.J. Brown as one of my must-draft wide receivers. Now, these next two are going to be a little bit more difficult to pinpoint. So this first one, let me talk about him. I'm going to sort the Kansas City offense, and I'm looking at the market share here, and it was abysmal outside of Tyreek Hill at 23.5%, and we had Travis Kelce, I believe, right around 26% market share last year. They gobbled up half of every pass that Patrick Mahomes stepped back and threw. And the rest of them were just filtered out to the rest of these offensive players. Now, Samia Watkins is gone, and so is his 12% market share. And if you're looking at his targets and you say, okay, listen, and I can see this happening, and you tell me what you think. So Samia Watkins is leaving about 6 targets per game on the table. What if Nicole Harbin, stepping into year 3, might I add, who took an increase in everything last year from year 1 to year 2? I'm talking production, and opportunity, and just progression as a skilled player. And let's say he just takes 2 of those targets, 2 of those 6. That is not a massive increase in targets for Nicole Harbin, stepping into year 3 as a wide receiver pro, and which is the year we always see these guys break out, right? So let me just paint a quick picture. Had you taken his production from last season and just added those 2 targets per game, the man would have finished with 60 receptions, 800 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Okay, nothing like super extravagant, but very useful in best ball leagues, very useful for a bye week. 60 receptions, 800 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's not too shabby, my friends. Now, let's say that he has that same opportunity heading into year 3, and that means not even really an increase in opportunity. We're just kind of talking natural progression. And let's say that he gets another 40 targets now over the course of the season. You're talking about a player who last year had 75 targets. Let's say he gets a 40 target increase. That would be just 2 targets per game that he took from Samia Watkins, and then maybe another half a target per game. So we're talking about a 2.5 target per game increase. I don't think that is something dramatic. I think that could probably be totally within the realm of possibilities. Let's even take that half away. If you're giving me just 2 extra targets per game, which I totally can foresee happening this season, this is a guy who's being drafted outside the top 60 right now in best ball leagues, who would have finished inside the top 50 just using last year's statistics that we had just discussed. So I'm trying to paint this picture where I think the upside is there. Is it league winning upside? No, probably not, unless you're looking at a long-term injury for Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce, where he's going to see several more targets per game. You're also banking on him taking a step forward as a wide receiver and holding off of Demarcus Robinson and holding off Byron Pringle. Are these things going to happen? I have no freaking clue. There's really no way to know. But we are taking chances here. Nicole Harbin, being drafted outside the top 60, I do think has top 48 or so finish power, and I'm going to be drafting him later in my drafts absolutely this year, especially when you're looking at the type of players being drafted around him in the best ball drafts right now for their ADP. Now, this other one's going to be a tough one too, but real quick, before I start talking about where Kenny Golladay, Danny Amendola, Marvin Jones are and what they have left over for Rashad Perrman, let me tell you about our sponsor today. Monkey Knife Fight, one of the fastest growing DFS industry sites in the industry, I should say, have teamed up with us, and they've given me a promo code, Donuts. So down below in the description section, there's a link that says Donuts free guide, Donuts free stuff, whatever it is. Click that link and it'll bring you to a page where it allows you to see all my free stuff. One of them is Monkey Knife Fight. If you sign up using promo code Donuts on the Monkey Knife Fight link, you're actually going to get a free 2021 draft kit. You're going to get a free month of sports betting on my Patreon site. You're going to get $10 off to my DFS site, and you're going to get $20 off to DraftSharks.com, one of the best fantasy football sites in the entire industry. You get all of that just for using the promo code Donuts on Monkey Knife Fight. Now, let's move forward. I want to talk about Rashad Perrman, a guy who's averaged 16.5 yards per catch in his career, his 5-year career, entering year 6 on a new team, and they have 54% of the targets open for hire. Who's going to take him? Who knows? I don't know, but can Jared Goff get the ball down the field to Rashad Perrman? I think so. I hope so. And if he does have the opportunity here, I think that a guy who's being drafted outside the top 65 in best ball leagues at wide receiver, who's potentially stepping in as the wide receiver 1, the de facto number 2 behind TJ Hawkinson, and maybe even 3 if you're looking at DeAndre Swift gobbling up a bunch of targets. But he should be the number 1 wide receiver for this team. Tyrell Williams and Quintez Cephas are the 2 he'll be battling out. I guess you could also say Jamal Agnew. But with Amendola, Kenny Golladay, and Marvin Jones all gone, they have left open 54% of the targets. It amounts to 18.5 targets per game are open. Rashad Perrman could step into a place this year where even if he is getting, we're talking just 8 targets per game, that would still be outside the top 25. That would put him around 30th in the NFL, kind of what you would expect a number 1 wide receiver to get on a team. Listen, if he's going to get even just 7 targets per game, you are still looking at a 112 target season. If he gets 8 targets per game, now you're looking at 130. Last year, that is right around 15th most in the NFL. Again, you can't look at these situations and say, these guys just step in and they garner all of these looks because that's how the NFL works. No. There's talent, there's opportunity, and the two have to blend together to create the production. Does he have the upside, and does he have the opportunity to do that? I think so. Does that mean it's going to happen? I don't know. But I'm willing to take a shot at a guy who, if he is going to garner over 110, 120 looks this year, should easily finish inside the top 65. Oh my gosh. I mean, you got a guy who with those type of targets potentially is inside the top 36 this year, top 40. Even though the name value drives his actual ADP down, I do think the opportunity should be driving his value up. I am taking Rashad Perrman, Nicole Harbin, same thing. I will be taking a few shots at them in best ball early because I think that there is a massive, massive upside in both of them based on where they're being taken and their average draft position. Now, over the next couple of videos, I'm going to be talking about must-draft tight ends, and I will be talking about must-draft best ball stacking, a very, very sharp way to play best ball where you're stacking offenses. And we're going to talk about that in probably the Wednesday's video. Anyways, if you watch this today on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe. I have daily live streams for DFS. I have multiple videos per week, and this is year-round. And grab the free guide and free link down below, first link in the description section. And if you're listening on podcast platforms, please hit that, 5-star ratings, thumbs up, whatever it might be. But drop a comment, drop a reply in the comment section, and let me know who your must-draft wide receivers are. Or let me know what you think of the show. And these types of things I like to circle back to and, use them to improve myself too. Take care, my friends, and I thank you so much for your time today.